That my assessors are ready. You ready? Yeah, you're on the clock.
All right. Good morning, class. All right. So you've all come in. You've seen your bell work right here. What changes in society stand out to you? You got to give it a couple minutes. All right. And done. Okay. Would anyone like to share theirs? Mitchell?
Yeah,
Okay.
So I see a lot of changes in society as just when it pertains to like changes in immigration.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I can. Oh yeah. All right. John.
Internet in today's world.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. So yesterday we talked about the Renaissance. Does anybody remember what exactly we talked about yesterday? Shadow?
Oh, we talked about the Renaissance and art and science and how it's changed.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, all right. So today we're going to move on from the Renaissance and onto Reformation, which spawned from the Renaissance. It's the split between in the Christian church. So, and today specifically we will talk about Christian humanism. Now, does anyone want to take a shot at what Christian humanism is? Chelsea?
Like what we learned about yesterday with humanism, but with religion?
You know what? That's actually pretty spot on. It's here. Well, I'll give you the definition right here. The Renaissance is focused on religion. It comes from, like we talked about yesterday with the Renaissance, how there was a change in art and science and just the way that people thought, period. So Christian humanism is the same thing, but with Christianity. A lot of people thought that the church only cared about the way that people acted and not their beliefs. There's also a feeling that the church was more in it for the money than they were in saving souls, which we will talk about that here in a second. Okay, so this right here is the parable of the Good Samaritan. Dakota, when you look at this, what do you see?
Is that a man helping Jesus?
Kind of, yeah. This is actually a painting of what they call the Good Samaritan, which is also comes from the Northern Renaissance of basically the Good Samaritan was a guy who was good on his own free will and not on God's will. So, there's a clicker. Okay, so this right here is Erasmus. He's a guy who's kind of credited with Christian humanism. He's from the Netherlands. He's a priest from the Netherlands. It was during the Northern Renaissance, which we will talk about tomorrow, where he came up with the idea that before that, people thought that your salvation was based on God's will and everything, where he was like, you kind of make up your own choices. This right here is Martin Luther. Martin Luther was he's a monk from Germany. He was kind of fed up with a lot of the stuff going on in the Catholic Church, specifically the Pope, and this is where the money part comes in, because he at the time the Pope was handing out these things called indulgences, which is something that you handed, you bought your way out of purgatory, which, morally right or wrong, that's what they did. Martin Luther was a guy who, in the, starting to blink a little bit. Okay, so Martin Luther was a guy in the middle of, he was tired of it, and so he wrote the 95 Theses, and this is also in the time when the printing press was created, so he was able to take these kind of pamphlets and just hand them out. So he handed these out, and these are basically his indiscretions with the church. And then this, yes?
What is a diet of worms? Why do you eat worms?
Well, that isn't exactly what this is.
Okay.
The Diet of Worms is what it's called. Is basically, it was a trial that took place in Worms in Germany. Martin Luther, he was tried for heresy, which is, he went against the church's teaching at the time. And he was tried for it. Some people agreed with him, some people didn't. It caused a schism, and that brought yes, Anthony?
What is a schism?
A schism is basically, it's a split. And there was a schism in the Catholic Church between the sects. Some went with the Catholics, and some went with the Protestants, where the term Lutheranism comes from in this. Okay? And now we get to our assignment. Yay. Okay, so I'm going to have everyone break up into groups. I have your groups ready for you, so if you could get ready. All right, in group one, see these numbers on the wall? You will go to these stations when I call your name. Chelsea, Dakota, Caitlin, and Anthony over here. 2, John, Kellen, Shadow. 3, Gabriella, Daniel, and Matt. And 4, Mitchell, Grant, Adam, and no Cowell. All right, cool. So. All right, we will take these.
Thank you,
Alright.
Mr. Boyton.
Discuss the questions and answer them. You will have about 10 minutes. Once that time is up, you will rotate counterclockwise to your next station. 1s will go to 2s, 2s to 3s, 3s to 4s, 4s to 1s, so on and so forth. Okay, so now that we're done, all right, everyone, turn. I'll take those back up. I'll take that. All right, everyone can go back to your seats. Regroup.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to discuss, I'm just only going to do a few of these questions. Okay, so anyone want to answer on the first one? What words here do you recognize in this Latin paragraph? Anyone? Chelsea?
It said Jesus Christum. I think it is Jesus Christ. So is this about Jesus?
Yeah, it is. So where do you think something like this would be spoken?
I think that I'll be spoken at a church.
Okay, by the way, this is in Latin. All right, so let's go for that. Good job, guys. Okay, so now with the last 5 minutes, with a couple of sentences, complete sentences, on a blank sheet of paper, right? How do you think the Reformation still plays a role in today's world? You will complete the sentence, or complete it, and turn it into the basket on your way out, as well. And if you don't believe that, then tell me why. And also tomorrow we will be talking about John Calvin and the Northern Renaissance a lot more. Have a good night.